Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to another live stream here on the channel. Hopefully everyone is having a great Wednesday so far. Let's see, we have in the chat, we have Random Guy, we have Mark, Caleb, Kaylee, Pete, Anna, let's see, Big Mac, as well as Capybara. And yes, I did see the tornado warning livid back out in, where was it? Idaho. Yeah, I had to look at your message. It was in southern Idaho. There was actually one tornado warning and then it got extended. So technically two tornado warnings there. Pretty unique. And the extension, once it got extended, it actually had a pretty good area of rotation with it, but nothing too over the top. But interesting, we managed to get a tornado warning today out there in the northwest side of the U.S. Also, welcome Ben, Logan, and Jason, and everyone else who's in here who I may have forgotten to welcome, or if you're just now tuning in or may not be chatting, glad to have you in here. Let's go ahead and switch on over to our main scene. I do have to fix one thing. There we go. I had to fix one thing, and we should be good to go. Let's see if I got everything correct. Yeah, it looks like I did. So, yeah, we're just going to be going over the threat for some generalized severe weather over the next 3 days. There's not a lot of significant severe weather anticipated over the next couple of days. I do apologize for the lack of live streams over the last 2 days. I was absolutely exhausted over the last 2 days. Yesterday, I was about to go live. We had a 90-mile-per-hour severe in Southwest Texas, and I couldn't find the energy to live stream over the last 2 days. But it was a much-needed break. I feel a lot better now, so live streams probably will start to slowly get more spaced out, but when we're needed, you know we'll be here. It's just over the last few days, we haven't really seen much activity. We did have a few tornado warnings in Pennsylvania and a strong tornado out there in New York. The New York tornado, I was about to go live for that. I waited one scan and it just broke apart in one scan, so I didn't stream that. And like I said, the following day, I was exhausted. So, yeah, we're just going to go over the threat for generalized severe weather here over the next few days. We have a couple severe storms. Let me get rid of this Radar Omega app, go over to Weatherwise here. So, yeah, we have a couple of just generalized strong storms out here in northern Iowa. There is one severe. One of my friends are actually on this severe thunderstorm warning for 70-mile-an-hour winds, 1.25-inch hail. He's out there chasing. Last time I checked, he had a good view. I don't want to use his feed or anything, but I know he's got a pretty good view of it out there. So that's a very intense thunderstorm that is ongoing in north-central Iowa. So if you're in that severe, get away from doors and windows. There's actually a SIG Tor in Erie County, PA. That's a tornado warning. Yeah, a new tornado warning in far southeastern Idaho. Or not Idaho. Yeah, Idaho. That's so confusing. I'm not used to. I literally saw the state name, Red Idaho, and then I said not Idaho. We don't track these. I'm not used to this at all. My word. But another tornado warning, third one of the day out here in far southeastern Idaho. Really difficult to see if that's rotating. I mean, man, if that is rotating, I have seen some crazy areas of rotation in my neck of the woods because I don't see much of anything with that. I don't really see anything with that. I know our radar is a bit far, but our radar is still scanning right into this storm. So I feel like, I mean, it's only for 9 minutes there. But get in your safe spot. They did tornado warn that. A little surprised by that considering how it really doesn't look tornadic to me, but yeah, just get in your safe spot if you're in that warning. Back out to Iowa, we do have that one severe for 70-mile-an-hour winds. And North Carolina actually quite popped off today. We had multiple severe thunderstorm warnings across the coastlines of Virginia and eastern North Carolina, including a torr possible severe that was issued earlier near Murfreesboro, North Carolina, not Tennessee. Don't worry, Legacy. This was in North Carolina. Actually got a torr possible severe. I would have chased had I known the risk was going to pop off like that. But yeah, not many models indicated that we would have a decent risk for severe weather today. And that was in part to all these outflow boundaries located out here in North Carolina. Also go to South Carolina. I don't know. Okay, they're not still there, but we had like 6 outflow boundaries out here over the Columbia, that's the city I'm looking for, Columbia, South Carolina region, and it just exploded thunderstorms left, right, and center all across Columbia. We've had like 4 or 5 days of consistent severe storms in Southeast Tennessee as well, so a very active, just generalized severe weather pattern out here on the southeastern side of the U.S. over the last few days, and I do believe that's going to generally continue, to be honest with you. I do think we will continue to see severe weather today. We have a marginal tomorrow. We have a general thunderstorm risk. Could see a severe storm or two. Day 3, general thunderstorm risk. Could see a severe storm or two out there in the southeast. But the main story over the next few days is definitely going to be damaging winds. I do think we have a chance for a spin-up tornado or two tomorrow out in Arkansas, Texas, and Louisiana. There's going to be a remnant low pressure and or an MCV. We'll have to figure out which one's which. Probably a low pressure going into Arkansas, northeast Texas, northwest Louisiana could produce a few tornadoes tomorrow. So be aware of that. I don't think... Oh, they did introduce a 2% tornado risk on that new update. Okay, so they did actually upgrade that to a 2% tornado risk for tomorrow. I did not notice that. That wasn't there when I checked this morning, but they did upgrade that to a 2%. So they agree on the opportunity for a tornado or two out there. Also 2% for tomorrow back out in South Dakota, Minnesota, Nebraska, and Iowa. And then day 3 is a little interesting. We do have a chance for an enhanced risk for wind. I really don't see us seeing much in the wake of significant severe weather out here on day 3. There may be a chance for some isolated large hail, maybe close to 1.5 inches in diameter, possibly an MCS that may require an enhanced risk. We'll see. We're going to keep an eye on model runs to see if that uptrends at all. If it does, it would be northeast Colorado, southwest Nebraska, northwest Kansas that has the best chance at seeing an MCV 30%, or rather an MCS with a 30% enhanced risk. I don't see much of a tornado threat. I think by the time we get to the day 2 outlook, we'll probably have a 2% tornado risk out here for day 3, which again is going to be, that's Friday. I don't expect much tornadic activity out of any of these days. I think all these days will stay 2%. And then day 4, there's nothing on day 4 right now. I'll go to it, but yeah, if we look at day 4, there's nothing at the day 4 outlook here. There is a chance for definitely a slight risk for severe weather back up in Montana, Wyoming, South Dakota, Nebraska going into Saturday, but I do not see much tornadic activity. If we do see tornadoes on any of these days, they're going to be mesoscale days, which means we don't know the extent of the tornado threat until the morning of our event. So I do not expect much tornado risk here for a couple of days, to be honest with you. I really do not see much happening anytime soon. We'll keep an eye on a trough going into Wednesday next week. The GFS has a trough. However, the Euro and the Canadian model both have that same trough dying out. So if the trough survives, we could get a really good threat for severe weather, including tornadoes. If the trough dies out, it's just going to be another mesoscale day where we see damaging winds and some large hail across the northern plains going into next week. So overall, I think our tornado season is well past our peak tornado season, likely ended there in the latter half of May. And now we're just dealing with generalized severe storms, up to 70-mile-an-hour winds, up to 2-inch hail for the next couple of days. That will probably continue for a good week or so. Let me go ahead and show you guys our model runs here. Let's see, go switch here, switch you guys over to this scene. I want to show you guys just the general pattern we're expecting. So that's our little trough here that's going to cause severe storms tonight into tomorrow. And then going on into tomorrow, we'll see that low pressure, very weak low pressure, likely going to be a little bit stronger of a surface low that will allow for some vorticity across Arkansas, Louisiana, maybe into Texas. I do think we'll see at least a tornado or two somewhere, specifically in Arkansas for tomorrow. Going into Saturday, we just continue with this high-pressure ridge across the southwest U.S. Could see some severe storms back out in Montana. It's off of your screen. I can shrink it for you. Yeah, so could see some severe storms back out here in Montana, just off the Rockies or possibly on the Rockies, going into Saturday evening, maybe into Saturday night. Pushing that forward into Sunday, that pushes into the northern plains, very far northern plains. Again, could see some generalized severe storms there, some hail, some wind, maybe a spin-up tornado, but that tornado threat should remain very isolated and very localized, not really anything like, say, outbreak category or nothing even close to that. And then there's the question mark. This is our question mark going on into Tuesday. This is Tuesday morning. Will this trough be strong enough to survive the Rockies? Or is it just going to break apart and die out in, New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, that general area, the Four Corners region? The GFS says, yes, it's strong enough to survive. And we end up seeing severe weather across portions of the central and maybe the north central United States on Wednesday. This would be a better opportunity for severe storms, likely in the form of a big old windbag. Derecho season. We're obviously in derecho season, so most of these risks we see are probably going to end up being big windbags. But it would definitely have a bit more of an elevated tornado threat with it going into Wednesday night if it survives. And then Thursday, it would carry that threat for tornadoes, all hazards into northern Michigan, southern, southwestern Ontario. Really quick, show you a different scenario. The Euro model, same trough, same location, same time frame, Tuesday morning, but trough is significantly weaker and thus doesn't survive the Four Corners. Same ordeal with the Canadian model run. Trough stays in the same area, just like the GFS and the Euro, and dies out like the Euro says. So two models say it doesn't survive, one model says it does survive, so we're going to go with the majority and say that this trough probably won't survive, but needs to be, just watched. There's not much signal here on the ensembles going into Tuesday and Wednesday. There's not much there, so let me check the old GFS. So that does cause some severe weather as well. It looks like it's been pretty consistent here. Really today, we're currently getting the new 18Z GFS. So if that trough does survive, it's definitely going to be into this portion of the U.S. where we see the chance for severe weather. But if it doesn't, that's the only trough that I'm partially interested in terms of a tornado threat. Everything else is mesoscale days, which again just means we're not going to know the extent of a tornado risk until we get to the day of our threat. And pushing that out, you do see the GFS decides to just throw a tropical storm into Mexico and southern Texas for some odd reason. That's the GFS for you. So actually going to use the Euro here. The Euro probably would handle our upcoming threats even better. And really, the jet stream's just going to stay in the northern U.S. That's just as simple as that. It's just going to stay in the northern U.S. So, high pressure here, and maybe even a high pressure out in that area. So, plenty of high pressures that are going to keep things on the northern tier of the U.S. So if you are in the deep south, you're still going to get the chance for some severe storms, but I'd be pretty surprised if we have any tornadoes in like Mississippi or Alabama. The best chance for any tornado threat in the southern U.S. Would be tomorrow in northern Louisiana, but that chance is still low. So northern playing season is in full effect right now, and there's really no sign of any major troughs. Again, going to keep an eye on the one on Wednesday, this upcoming Wednesday, a week from today, matter of fact, June 18th, just to see how that trends over the next few model runs. But nothing I'm really concerned about for tornadoes for the rest of this, really, much of this model run here. Much of this model run doesn't show much, again, except for Wednesday, which is a lot of uncertainty. So just the northern tier of the U.S., you guys need to keep an eye on things, if you are a chaser out there in like South Dakota, Iowa or so, right around the northern tier of the U.S., definitely going to be a pretty fun chasing sequence here over the next week, maybe 2 weeks or so. But again, tornado threats should be fairly limited throughout this period here. And again, if they are tornado threats, we're not going to know until day of, and it could also be a lot of conditional tornado threats as well, where it all comes down to like boundary interactions and surface heating. Let's see, what do I think of Friday? Is that supposed to be a windbag, or could we see tornadoes from Montana to Kansas? Friday, like... Let's see. I mean, I don't think we're going to see much tornadic activity on Friday. I would keep an eye for an MCS to form, like I mentioned before, generally in, go to the newest model run, generally in like this area here. Could have an opportunity for a spin-up tornado and some damaging winds near 60 to 70 miles per hour, but I don't see a really notable tornado threat at the moment going on into Friday night. Montana could pick up on some severe weather as well. Definitely could see some severe storms in central to western Montana. Maybe an isolated spin-up there. Texarkana, so really not going to see much out there over the next few days. I mean, you're going to get a lot of rain. What in the... Man, count on the NAM to just throw a random derecho that's like freaking 500 miles long across Texas. That's an updated tornado warning. Hold on, brief intermission. All right, they canceled that tornado warning in Idaho. No tornado warnings remain. Yep, random NAM action right there. And then going on into, let's see, I want to go to Thursday. There you go. Yeah, so that would be your best chance. That's very weird. The NAM, I think, has a big-time intensity bias right there. The NAM is wanting a full-fledged line to just survive the entire night and, like, become a big issue tomorrow across Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi. I just find that unlikely. I think if we do see any tornadoes tomorrow, there's a chance it's going to be with that primary weak line in portions of Arkansas, and then possibly even around the low pressure, the vorticity of the low pressure. But I don't see it being anything notable. And, I mean, really, Texarkana is probably not going to see much more than just some rain, to be honest with you. You're in the threat for an isolated severe storm. But definitely want to stay weather aware if you're on any of the risks over the next few days, because they are very mesoscale risks. So model runs handle June very poorly. I think June is probably one of the worst times for model runs, also going into July as well, because a lot of our severe threats in June and July are mesoscale days. So they handle cam models in specifically just handle convection absolutely horribly and the environment horribly. So but even going through all the model runs, I don't see a big tornado threat over the next few days. Mainly damaging winds and some hail. Let's go back over here to our severe in northern Iowa. Some isolated small to maybe slightly larger hail near about an inch to about an inch 0.25 in diameter will be possible. Main threat with this is definitely damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour. So just to show you your SPC outlooks again. So today we got a marginal in Southeast Virginia into eastern North Carolina. You can see these blues. Those are your special weather statements, which we consider strong storms. Could be for a number of things, 40-mile-an-hour winds, 30-mile-an-hour winds, even 50 in some instances. It looks like most of these are for 30 and 40. Yeah, most of these are for 30 to 40-mile-an-hour winds. I don't see any. Oh, there's one in for 50. One for 50 there. And Ladson. Kind of south central South Carolina there. But yeah, they do have a slight risk for severe weather out over San Antonio back towards Beaumont, Texas, for that line that may form tonight. If it does form, which it will form, just a little uncertain how strong it may be. The main threat is definitely going to be 60-mile-an-hour winds. Could get some isolated gust as high as 70. And do they have a 2%? Yeah, I was going to say, I wouldn't rule out a tornado or two, especially if we get a discrete storm to fire. The best chance for tornadoes, in my opinion, looks to be on the east side of this 2%. Looks like that's where we have the best opportunity for some discrete storms to fire. And this will be an overnight threat, so storms probably won't fire till near midnight Central Time, and then they will continue throughout the entire night and going into tomorrow and likely re-strengthen, at least to some extent, re-strengthen into tomorrow's tornado risk there, which is a much larger 2%, all the way from Tennessee, northern Arkansas, all the way down to the coastline of Texas, Louisiana. Big 2% tornado risk there. And just to show you how that may play out, this is the HRRR once again. Much better with intensity, in my opinion. So you could see a lot of thunderstorms form by midnight Eastern, or rather midnight Central Time. Just a lot of generalized thunderstorms. You have some isolated helicity tracks here, likely for some small hail, isolated 60-mile-an-hour winds. And those discrete storms, if we do see any out near the Houston or north of the Houston area, those will pose your greatest tornado threat. Definitely by no means the best environment, but could see a spin-up tornado around or northwest of Houston going into your overnight hours tonight. You can see that MCS, very weak MCS, likely only a few severes, very scattered across the line, will begin to weaken as we go into tomorrow morning. And then maybe some brief intensification of our MCS could occur back up into Arkansas and Mississippi. Now, again, this is what I was talking about with mesoscale days. If we have a little bit better instability up here, or just simply the HRRR may be wrong with how weak this line is, it could easily end up being substantially stronger than forecasted. We've seen that time and time and time again here, especially in the month of June. HRRR does not do very well with intensity, and then the NAM3K typically overdoes intensity. So something in the middle, something where we don't have a line as strong as this and a line as weak as this will occur tomorrow. Want to take a look at that new GFS. A lot more negatively tilted of a trough. Good news with that is it wouldn't bring as many ingredients. Yeah, not a lot of instability. It would definitely be lacking with ingredients there. So that would still allow, especially going into Wednesday, for a good tornado threat. Wow. Yeah, so wouldn't see much on Tuesday, but Wednesday, yikes. But again, this is the GFS is the only model run that shows it. Completely gone on the Euro, completely gone on the Canadian model run. So we'll just need to monitor that over the next couple days, see how it progresses on our models. South of Britt, Iowa. Let me go check real quick. A lot of thunder, lightning, some gusty winds, potentially as high as 70-mile-per-hour winds. So could be some damaging winds there, and also some large hail up to about an inch, 0.25 in diameter. So some hail, very, very gusty winds, very heavy rain, a lot of lightning, thunder, all across this severe thunderstorm warning for the next 19 minutes. It is on a weakening trend. It definitely is weakening. When it was over and west of Britt, Iowa, it could have been dropping upwards of about an inch and a half, maybe even 1.25 inch hail, very close to your area. And now it looks like that is on a weakening trend. I thought tomorrow would be at least a slight. Where would they go slight for? There's not really a good spot. Now, if we do see uptrends, I could see them putting a 15% wind over Arkansas. Let me check. What about, like, Nebraska, Kansas? Nah. Yeah, no, I don't... there may be also a chance for Northeast Colorado for a slight risk. It depends on their confidence and destabilization. If there's more destabilization in Colorado, we could see a slight risk. If there's more destabilization in Arkansas, we could see a slight risk. But right now, there's not a lot of confidence in a good MCS forming. Confidence is definitely on the lower side. The NAM 3K portrays a quite unrealistic scenario where you have minimal convection in front of the MCS in Louisiana, southern Arkansas. That's a quite unreasonable scenario. HRRR definitely portrays a bit of a more likely case scenario, much messier mode. And then in terms of tropics, we do actually have another high chance, 90% chance of a named storm out here. Tropical depression or tropical storm should form within the next 5 days or so out here off the coastline of Mexico. And this is going to be our fourth or fifth, I think our fourth tropical storm out here in the Eastern Pacific in the last 2 weeks. And we did have 2 hurricanes earlier this week as well. Both died off fairly quickly. And still quiet, still inactive in the Atlantic. I might have just jinxed us so bad. If there's a hurricane at the end of the month, it was my fault. Still very inactive across the Atlantic Basin, the Caribbean, the Gulf. Still relatively on the inactive side there. Let the Q word slip. I apologize. It's over, man. Yeah, but still pretty inactive out there. No crazy GFS fantasy run has verified yet. So, still, like I called out a couple days ago, all those people who are saying Category 2, Category 3 hurricane in the Gulf going towards like June 12th through the 15th or so, right around there. Yeah, not going to happen. Shocker, the GFS is wrong, right? So... I have to show this. What in the world? Hold on. Look how sharp this jet stream cutoff is. I just had to show that. Look at this. That is a sharp jet stream cutoff right there. That looks pretty weird. That looks quite weird. That looks very, very odd to me. But there is a more favorable pattern for at least some tropical rain to form towards the end of the month out here in the Atlantic, but I don't see much. That's why I haven't even made, ever since our hurricane season video, I haven't made any videos on the Atlantic because there's really not much to talk about there. Yes, we're getting a slightly favorable environment, but There shouldn't be any tropical waves that take good advantage of that environment. Probably we'll have a chance for a named storm towards the end of June, and then probably at least a chance or two in July, but really not expecting much until August. Typically August, especially the end of August, is when things start to pop off here in the Atlantic. Another reason could be our Eastern Pacific popping off, has been literally just mentioned there. They seem to take turns almost. When the Eastern Pacific pops off, the Atlantic's a little bit on the inactive side of things. And that's probably in part to wind shear. We talked about that with our hurricane season forecast. You know, kind of with your wind shear shifting, like a La Nina brings... La Nina brings more wind shear to the Eastern Pacific and less to the Atlantic. So it could be kind of a pattern like that, where we have more wind shear right now in the Atlantic and thus a less period of wind shear in the Eastern Pacific. And when the Eastern Pacific starts to die down, we could do a reverse. EPAC dies down, Atlantic explodes. So we'll see if that's what happens, but it's early in the season. It's June 11th. We're really, really early in the season. We've got a lot of dust coming off of Africa. I know that for a fact. There's probably a bunch of wind shear, so probably not a good environment out there across the Atlantic. I haven't done a check on our sea surface temperatures. We are going to go do that together. I haven't taken a look at our sea surface temperatures to see how those are progressing. Ooh, yeah. Definitely starting to get warmer and warmer out there in the Gulf. Some warm spots, especially in the Eastern Caribbean over the last 7 days, but you're still well above average out in the Gulf. Looks a lot better than when I did my video, especially on those coastline areas. So awesome time to go for a vacation to the Gulf coastline or the southeastern U.S. To the beach. Other than the temperatures, we're probably cooked. We are probably absolutely cooked in the U.S. I've only been going outside. I used to do a lot of outdoor activities like towards the right after lunch, but now it's almost, it got up to like 87 out here today. And yeah, I mean, I'm gonna just keep getting baked. That's one reason why I probably won't be able to live in Texas. Like, look at that. We're just gonna be, oh my goodness. Well, we are definitely going to be fried. It is going to be really stinking hot over the next couple days. It looks like we might get into probably the upper 80s most days here in Southern Virginia, but yeah, elsewhere, I mean, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, much of that area is probably going to be getting into the mid-90s next week. And then by the time we get into Wednesday, Thursday, I wouldn't be shocked if we get a couple 100s sneaking in here in Oklahoma, Texas, or even down towards Florida. I'm not used to the heat at all. I can handle like low 80s. That's when I start to, that's when I start to consider not going outside as much. But once it gets towards the mid 80s, I'm like, okay, maybe I shouldn't go outside that much. Now it depends, because if it's mid 80s with like no humidity, I'm going outside. That's better. But the thing is, out here in Virginia, a lot of the time, if you got mid 80s, you got a lot of humidity with it too. For instance, if we go to today, you see today, this is actually tomorrow, we're going to be getting up to 80% humidity, and when you have that paired with 85 temps, yeah. I'll just choose my time wisely. Still go outside, just in the morning and late evening. You ain't gonna catch me outside in the middle of the day like I used to, towards March. Today it was 84 and it felt cold. Well, good for you, Caden. Out here, we're very sensitive to any temperature that's not upper 60s. If you're in the upper 50s, it's freezing cold. If you're in the mid to low 80s, it's boiling hot. The perfect temperature is like 65 to 70. Lower than 65 starts to get chilly. Up any higher than 70, and it's like getting too hot. I'm glad a lot of the rain has avoided us, though. We haven't had much rain. I did have a low precipitation storm the other day. Yeah, but for me, like, the don't go outside temperature for me is actually like the upper 80s to low 90s. That's when I'm just not going to go outside at all in a day. If it's mid 80s, I could still work with that as long as humidity's not that high. And then for cold, I don't like it getting that cold. Like, once it gets below about 40, yeah, probably below 40, that's when I'm not going to go out. But I'll go outside all the time at 50, 60s, especially 60s. I love 60s. That's the best. It's probably about 73, 74 in here right now, Caleb. That's what I'd say. But it got boiling hot. I mean, it got up to mid 80s, almost into the low 90s here in Southern Virginia. And I opened my window like an idiot, so I was cooked for a couple minutes. I left it open and then left. So I left my window open and then went downstairs to do things and came back and my room was absolutely boiling. Oh, just remembered it out of nowhere. The flash flood risk got upgraded to a moderate this for today. Yeah. They upgraded to a moderate risk level 3 out of 4 for flash flooding across Waco, Killeen, Austin, Central Texas there. So flooding is actually the biggest issue across Texas today. That's going to be the biggest issue. Of course, going to see likely a couple severe storms, maybe even isolated tornado tonight. But flooding's the main issue. And then tomorrow and also going into Friday, a lot of flash flooding possible. So these next few days are just generalized severe weather. I don't anticipate to cover. Yeah, we'll cover a little bit today. Just the occasional checking on this storm here. Observed 70-mile-an-hour winds. 71-mile-an-hour wind gust west of Belmont in north central Iowa. Yeah, but I don't plan to cover today much. I don't plan to cover, probably not going to even live stream tomorrow. And then I'll probably end up doing a live stream on Friday, possibly. Possibly a live stream on Friday. I also want to get a video out sometime towards the latter half of this week or early next week. There we go. I've just been enjoying a lot of time with family because during tornado season, I don't, you know, I'm in here forecasting a lot, sometimes upwards of 15, 16 hours a day. So towards June, I'm like, okay, time to take breaks or chase. Almost chased yesterday's thread out there in Winston. It's already meteorological summer, so I already count it as summer. June 1st is summer. June 27th, you mean Caleb's birthday? Oh, man. What are we doing in chat here? It looks like you guys are going off on playing a game or something. Fill me in. Fill me in so I can start rambling about what you guys are talking about. I don't feel left out. Pretty strong line moving through north central Louisiana right now. Here's the question. Let's go to the 18Z model run yesterday and see if that showed a line. So it is 22Z. Hey, actually not that bad for the HRRR. I'm not going to lie. Not horrible. Simulated reflectivity versus the verification. Not terrible. A little bit off on the exact placement. Definitely an hour too slow. Maybe even 2 hours too slow. But not horrible. I've definitely seen worse. Hold on. Let's go to the NAM. Yep, I've definitely seen worse. The Nam, he didn't do too well. This is for 23Z right here. Definitely didn't do too well versus the HRRR. The HRRR did really well. Caleb, you didn't even get the year. Not even close to correct. 2002? Dude, I ain't 23. I know I'm old, but geez. I'm not 23 just yet. I know 23 or 20 isn't old, but there's a specific reason why I feel a lot older than I actually am. 2005, there you go. Bro was fully off. Shows you Caleb definitely failed math. That's for sure. 1999, so you're 26, 25 or 26. I think you said your birthday was in July, so you're probably 25. When's your birthday, Ben? Yo, stop leaking personal information, Sam. September. Bro's giving out his entire full birthday. Even down to the exact second. What was I going to ask Sam? I was going to ask him something. Let me see. What was I going to tell him? Oh, I have to text him on Discord. I don't want to spoil it for you guys. Let me see. Give me just a second. Sam, I want to text you something. There we go. Yep, you're in trouble, Sam. Now I gotta switch this over just in case I leak that. But yeah, if you guys are enjoying the stream, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new. It's greatly appreciated. Also, share the channel with your family, friends, social media. It's really appreciated. I know I only talked for the weather about like 30 minutes or so before we went off topic, but hey, the good news is that means there's not a whole lot to talk about. There's really not a bunch to ramble on and do an in-depth analysis on. Let me see here. Give me a moment again. So there is just one severe here in western Wyoming. Outside of that, we have our significant severe north central Iowa. And I don't think... Oh, we do have one more. South central Arkansas. Actually, Tor possible there. Little area of green and reds. And there's one more severe somewhere. The unknown severe. I don't know where it is. 1, 2, 3. Someone find number 4. Number 4 is invisible. There's a report of a something to do with a lightning strike here. Emergency management reported 2 houses struck by lightning in the Cane Bay area. No injuries reported. That's in kind of south central South Carolina. What radar do you use? I'm using Radar Omega, but I would not recommend that. Let me switch you guys over to this scene. I would not recommend Radar Omega. I would recommend Weatherwise. This is the free version right here. And it's much better than Radar Omega at the moment. That might have been the 4th severe right there in North Carolina expiring right now. So, yeah, you could just get Weatherwise on your phone, look it up in any App Store, Play Store, or you could just do the Weatherwise browser. I need to change the code. Unfortunately, Attic Radar shut down, so I'm going to do that right now. We're going to change the radar code over to Weatherwise. Let's see. Custom commands, Discord, gaming channel. I have, what? How many of these do I have? Where's the radar one? There you are. Yeah, Attic Radar shut down, so I'm going to do Weatherwise. As a replacement of that. Alright. Should be updated. So that should just bring right to the browser. There we go. Uh-oh. Caleb's got to figure out. There you go. Yep. From Attic Radar to Weatherwise. Just because Attic Radar sadly shut down. Very unfortunate. I did love that software whilst it was around. But Weatherwise is quickly becoming the most dominant radar site, radar software out there. Radar Omega is still probably the most popular radar software. I think it's still likely the most popular one. It's just, it's failed to update. And because it hasn't had any updates, any new bugs or any previous bugs just haven't been fixed. And there's no new features, so it's not that good. I think we're down to, yep, 2 severes here, so that's good. Yeah, and that's just what we're going to see over the next few days. For like the next 6-7 days straight, we're just going to keep seeing severes. Very sporadic throughout the U.S. Friday has a chance to be a bit more organized severe weather. We could have a batch of severe weather back out in Kansas, Colorado, and Nebraska for Friday. So we'll keep an eye on that area. Like I said, might see an MCS form. And if we do have greater confidence in an MCS, the SPC may upgrade to an enhanced. But right now, there's too much uncertainty. They mentioned too much uncertainty on their latest outlook. They talked about too much uncertainty in convective evolution for today. Tomorrow leads to uncertainty on what will happen Friday. And that's really how it's going to be for the entire week's worth of potential severe weather. We're not going to know what's going to happen the next day until the current day is over. So it's going to be very difficult to predict exactly what's happening. And I'm pretty sure, I mean, that's everything, really. I really just wanted to go over our severe threat for the next 3 days and then talk about the uncertainty there. And on Wednesday, uncertainty on Wednesday and Thursday's severe threat. And then, of course, mention that moderate risk for flooding for those who may have missed it. Here it is again. Moderate risk level 3 out of 4 for flash flooding centered over Austin, College Station, Waco, Clean, all the way back up into Tyler, Texas. So mainly Mainly big time flash flooding. That's going to be your biggest threat for tonight. But again, could also see a spin up tornado. Spin up tornado can't be ruled out, especially going on into the coastline areas here, the eastern side, back into the coastlines of southeast Texas. Maybe even as far south as in the Houston area. Caleb, I had pizza, so you're already wrong. Already ate supper. Sam, yeah, I would say it verified. It didn't verify for a very small portion, like near southwest Oklahoma and extreme north central Texas, around Wichita Falls, Texas. That didn't verify. But most of the risk did. We had, I think it was two, pretty sure it was two 100 mile-an-hour wind gusts that were measured from, I think one was measured from a mesonet, and then one was measured from something else. I can't remember. But honestly, the day before the moderate risk, here, this is our storm reports. And that's out across northern Alabama, northern Georgia, South Carolina, northern Mississippi. Oh, they did confirm that as an unwarned tornado in northern Mississippi. But yeah, this was on June 7th. And this was a very risky risk by the SPC. So the night before and even the morning of, models had this line dying out pretty much right as it moved into Mississippi. And the SPC decided to upgrade. They upgraded to an enhanced risk as models were showing it die out. And we ended up seeing it not die out, and it exploded in intensity. We went live for like 5-ish hours or so, and it ended up even possibly exceeding an enhanced risk for damaging winds. And then the actual moderate risk itself here, this was our moderate risk for Texas. You could see definitely did not verify around the Wichita Falls area. Hold on just a moment. Let me see. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so if you guys have any questions or anything like that related to weather, go ahead and ask them real quick. We're going to start concluding here in just a bit. I have some stuff I need to go do tonight, and I didn't want to stream any longer than about an hour. Just wanted to get on here and brief you guys on the threat for severe weather. Didn't want to leave you hanging for too long. Welcome, Roman. Glad to see you in here. So, yeah, if there's any questions that you guys have, just put them in the chat real quick. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button, share the channel with your family, friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. It's greatly, greatly appreciated. Next live stream will likely be Friday. I don't anticipate a live stream tomorrow, unless something like major changes with our outlooks. We get like a random double risk upgrade or something. I don't plan on doing a stream tomorrow, so Friday will most likely be the next live stream. Northeast Arkansas. So just some generalized, probably rain into the overnight hours, and then probably late tomorrow night, you'll have the chance for an isolated gust of about 60 miles per hour, up to 60 mile per hour winds tomorrow night. Models are quite consistent on you getting a line towards about 10 o'clock Central Time. So definitely could see some gusts up to 60 miles per hour tomorrow. There is a tornado risk in Northeast Arkansas, but Personally, I don't think it will reach all the way up into Jonesboro. Our best tornado threat, in my opinion, will be around the Little Rock area. Just a general region around Little Rock. A little bit northeast and a little bit to the southwest as well. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Almost 1,000 people tuning in within only an hour live stream. I greatly appreciate it. I hope all you guys are having a great Wednesday. And yeah, we're going to probably head out to the outro music here. I appreciate all you guys for tuning in once again. Just glad I could get on here for a quick hour and brief you guys on the threat for some severe storms. Like I said, likely not going to see... yeah, likely not going to see many severe storms over the next, few... Or rather, my bad. Likely not going to see much tornadic storms over the next few days. We're going to see plenty of severe storms. But likely not many tornadic storms. I want to look at what Pete said real quick. Pete, I have no idea how I'm going to forecast that area. Pete, I don't know. Let's see. Looks like there's rain chances. There's about a 30% chance of rain on Saturday and about a 50% chance on Sunday. Dang it. It's going to be rained out. I probably won't stream Sunday. We'll see about Saturday. So next live stream planned is Friday. Saturday is a 50-50. Sunday I won't be live. I'll be watching the first NASCAR race in Mexico City. I'm going to take a full day to watch that because that's historic. First time they've raced there, I believe, ever. But anyways, I hope you guys have a great rest of your Wednesday night. Thank you, Mods for Mod Chat and everybody for being here. And have a fantastic rest of your night. Stay safe, watch severe weather, and I'll see you guys in Friday's live stream. Goodbye. stay safe, watch for your weather, and I'll see you guys in Friday's live stream. Have a great rest of your night. Again, thank you, Mott's, for mod and chat. Goodbye.